We all stand. Good afternoon once again to all of our fellow lieutenants, whether you're here or whether you are there. We say, oh, warm, happy, welcome once again to our weekly meeting. And it's going to be a dandy one today. I'm trust and hope that all of you are having a beautiful day. And what a beautiful day it is, eh? What a beautiful, beautiful day. And we thank God for such a beautiful day. So as we welcome you, we want to call this meeting now to order. The meeting is called to order, and therefore we're going to go through our Rotary Grace. Okay? So the Rotary Grace. We beseech thee, O Heavenly Father, to bestow thy grace upon this meeting as we enjoy our fellowship one with another. May we grow in stature so that we may be able to give more to our friends in Rotary, and in turn give strength to the activities of Rotary in the service of mankind. And everyone said, Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Okay, and now our toast, the loyal toast. Fellow Rotarians, please raise your glasses with me, and those of you on here, please raise whatever it is you can. And let's give a loyal toast to the King and to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. To the King,
and to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Thank you so much. You may be seated. Again, we just want to say a welcome to all of you who are here and who are there in Zoom land. We trust and hope that you're having a wonderful time, and we hope that you already feel the welcome of Rotary and feel a part of this great organization, the Rotary Club here of Nassau, where we connect in order to bring about change to our communities. Okay, so we thank God for that, and that all of you are here and present. Okay, so part of you that's coming loose, you know. So as we begin, and let me lighten it up a little bit. And so I came across one or two little humorous jokes. Hope that you find them humorous. They said, getting angry with someone, think before you talk. If the person is junior to you, count to 10 and then talk. If the person is equal to you, count to 30 and then talk. If the person is your senior, for God's sake, count to 50, then you talk. Oh, if the person is your wife, keep company and don't talk. I thought that was so humorous, and back up with one that says, I'm not picking. I'm not a being sure that it's not you much. It's another one came to mind that says, if your dog is barking at the back door and your wife is yelling at the front door, who do that in voice? Your dog is barking at the back door. Your wife is yelling at the front door. Who do that in voice? You know the answer? Yeah. The answer is the dog, of course.
You won on that one. You won on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
You won on that one.
Let me move forward.
You don't get a cut eye over here.
I tell you that. All right. Okay. So let's moving right along. Do we have any visiting Rotarians on the call? We would love to make you feel better. we have any visiting Rotarian on the call?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is President Patricia Jarman from the Rotary Club of Maypen, Jamaica.
All right.
Jamaica. How are you doing, Madam President?
I'm doing good. It's not so hot as most people think Jamaica is always hot. It's nice and cool today.
Beautiful. Okay, you're joining the same kind of climate that we are enjoying in Nassau. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. We're just so happy that you were able to chime in. And trust that
You're
all
welcome.
with you. So you're
Good to be with you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Any other fellow Rotarians on the call? And before we move on, I wish for the Madam President of Jamaica's Rotary just to give us a little warm greeting, please. Could you just give us a little something, let us know with your club membership and how it's going?
Currently, our membership stands at 15. We actually diverse. We have a little bit more males and females, but we're working on that right now. And we meet at Versailles Hotel. We meet every Thursday at 7. We also have Zoom meetings for those persons who can't make it out to the hotel at 7 p.m. We're actually very active. We're doing a lot of projects and we're trying to grow the membership at the moment. So the focus really is trying to build the membership so that we'll be stronger going forward to be doing much more projects.
Good. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for that update. I'm quite sure Madam President, when she comes, she will likewise in kind bring up the on how we are doing here. And of course, I do recall that Madam President visited Jamaica recently. So yes, right. So I see she's building some relationships with that guy. And that's what it's all about, relationships. Thank you so much. Do we have any other visiting Rotarians on the call? Do we have any Rotarians or non-Rotarians who are visitors on the call before we go in person? Any non-Rotarians?
Nikita, guess of Raquel Wallace. Nikita is there.
Nikita?
No, oh, sorry, Nikia.
Nikita.
Where did she go?
Yes, Michelle?
Raquel.
Raquel.
Nikita, sorry, Nikita. Guess of Raquel Water. Nikita.
Okay, well, thanks, Nikita, for joining us. Perhaps maybe you're in a position where you cannot talk, so we understand that any of us is still at work. Do we have a Roberto online?
Roberta McKenzie.
Roberto McKenzie. Hi, Roberto.
Hi there, how are you?
We're doing excellent this side. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm wondering when I'm going to get that invitation to officially become a member. This is my fifth visit now.
Well, I'm quite sure Chairman membership who's listening, Mr. Tino McCartney.
We'll see you next week in person.
Next week in person.
All right.
The particulars according to the Madam Chair. Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
So look forward to seeing you in person so we can discuss everything and what we do here at the Rotary. But we're so happy that you're able to join us and join us quite frequently. It means a lot to us and for your reliability. That's good. Anyone else? Do we have any other non-Rotarian on the call who wishes to chime in? Okay, do we have any non-Rotarians or guests in our presence right now, live?
Victoria has been visiting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Victoria. Hi, Victoria, how are you doing? To be honest with you, I really could have sworn that you were already.
Now time.
You were always and you were frequently here in person. We're so happy that always a pleasure to see you. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. And yes, we have someone else there sitting at the table. Our Rotarian Sandra, you want a guess?
Yes. Here we go. Here.
Camille?
Samia.
Samia. Ah, yes. Thank you so much, Samir, for joining us. Thank you so much, and we hope that you enjoy the meeting. Okay? Thank you so much. And I guess we all are familiar friends and familiar faces here in the place. So once again, thank you all, and I trust that you all by now has felt welcome. Welcome, 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 Madam President.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. So good to see you brave souls coming out in person. We still want to have more. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I even tried bribing persons today. I don't. But it's work in progress, hopefully as time goes on to get better. I'm also going to do the updates from our secretary. So we had the January fundraiser. We were able to get the expense report done. We did make a profit, thank goodness for that. We made a profit of $4,000, but we still have $1,500 outstanding. Oh, yes. But we do still have persons waiting for a ticket, so please, the sooner you can get that money into us, the better, because we have already had to pay out everything, so we would like to get that money in, so it's about $1,500 that we still have outstanding. This weekend, on Saturday, the 4th of March, we have RILA. RILA is the Rotary, Youth Leadership Award. It is geared towards our interactors and rotaractors. RCN Club is actually sponsoring 17 interactors, which is good. And we do have 3 interactors also coming in from Exoma. So the ones from Exoma will be arriving on Friday. The event is fine. Is that okay? So it will be held at the Providence Center on Lake Road. So if you all want to come and assist, you saw that Alandra, our chairperson for New Generation, she did put in the chat that there is a volunteer opportunity. So if you want, you can sign up to assist us, please. So please look out for that. We'll send it out again after the meeting. So if you want to, you can sign up for it. You can also invite your prospective members. I know you have one or two persons who are prospective. I'll send it to you as well, Victoria, to see if you're available. You can also come out, and attend. And Roberta, that's another opportunity for you to come in and get a project in. So we'll make sure that gets to you. So if you're available, you can sign up. The Interclub, okay, the Interclub Assembly, which is for all the clubs here in Nassau, and I know we did send an invite to the ones out of Nassau as well. I'm not sure if they attend, but that will be happening on March 18th, starting at 9 a.m. This is going to be at UB. So basically the sessions, kind of helping you to learn a little bit more about Rotary. So again, you can invite your prospective members. I've invited my prospective members to come out, a little bit more about Rotary, and also have some fellowship with other Rotarians. At 3 in the afternoon, that same day, we have the debate semifinals. So that has been going on now for excuse me. So those will be held on March 18th as well. At 3 p.m. Again, once we have the link, we'll send it out, feeling free. Tune in to listen to the debaters. Our Interact Club in Exoma, Ellen Coakley, they have won in the quarterfinal round. So, it'd be good to come on and cheer them on so that they can win in the semifinal round as well. Okay, and that is it from my update. So I can bring it back a little bit. They want me to call it membership. All right, membership.
Membership
I
time.
put you on the spot,
Okay, again?
Who's your buddy?
My buddy Angel.
Who's your buddy?
My buddy Angel.
Who's your buddy? You want to answer the question?
Yeah, she was here at the what you call it, at the Valentine's Day. I say the name, yes, I think that's secret. But she was here at Valentine's Day, and we each other and did a lot of talking, but she's not here today. We just had somebody just walk in just now. Hi, young lady, how are you? Okay. Eureka. How you doing, Eureka? Good to see you. We haven't seen you since.
Valentine.
Well, listen, It's good to have Eureka in person today. And Darren, good to have you, sir. The incoming president. Good to have you, sir. Good to have you. A couple more months before you actually take the chair. But my role here is very simple. I've been getting a lot of heat from the president and also from the sergeant at arms. They have already approached me and they've said to me, Kino, we need to have all members attending in person. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. As we're gonna encourage you to do, we're gonna, all those persons who are not in person today, we're gonna thank you in advance for donating $5 because you are absent today. We're gonna thank you in advance for giving $5. That's gonna be a fine for today. So I counted about 25 or so persons. And good to have our visitor from Jamaica, Patricia. Good to have you here. But so Patricia, this is how we get our club to make money. So because it's an in-person meeting, we can encourage everyone who is on Zoom, other than Patricia and our visitors, to please make sure that you contribute. And hold it, I want to be fair. Let's be fair. I will make sure that it's not just me. Everyone who agrees that this should be done for today, let me see you all raise your hand. Raise your hand. Okay, motion carried. Motion carried. So persons who are on Zoom, I want to thank you so much for your contribution, for your $5. And in March, we're looking forward to you at least 2 meetings. Those of you who could not make it so far for the year, we can encourage you to make at least 2 meetings in the month of March. So that we can all be able to participate and get to know each other. I need to recognize our anniversaries. We have 3 persons celebrating their anniversaries. We have Anita, who's celebrating her birthday, 3 years on February 25th. We have Rashan, who's celebrating 3 years on February 25th, and Robin on the 22nd celebrating, 22 years celebrating February 27th. So we want to wish those persons happy Rotary anniversary, and of course we have 3 persons celebrating their birthday. And I'm going to start with Robin because Robin is not only celebrating his birthday, but he's also celebrating his anniversary. So Robin's birthday is going to be on March 5th. We have DeAndrea. Hi, DeAndrea. I'm coming for my cake. I don't know when the party's going to be, but DeAndrea's birthday is March 2nd. And of course, we have Monique, Rotarian Monique, whose birthday is March 1st. Do we have our birthday songs?
Blame the sergeant.
Okay.
Did we welcome Nikita?
Yes, we can. Nikita said she can.
Okay.
So we have Monique, DeAndrea, and Robin who are celebrating.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. How old am I now? My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. My birthday, come again. So I can party all night.
All right, thank you so much. Enjoy your meal, and I'm looking forward to the interview that we're going to have today. Our presentation of persons who will be talking about innovation and how they're going to be, what was that topic again? Vocation, navigating application. So I'm looking forward to that today. Thank you very much for those who are visiting with us. And again, we look forward to seeing all of you in the month of March. And for our Rotarian who said she's been here for the 5th time, I'm looking forward to meeting you next week, Tuesday, like last, so we could get you started on becoming a full-time We carry them at the end when we do them last, right?
Oh, yeah, but it's program. It's not
Well-
just for your buddy, you have to pay your fine.
So I have to get my fine, I have to get my fine, I have to get my fine. So who can tell me the name of that buddy? What's the name of that buddy? Malia. No. I was your buddy. Yeah, I was your buddy last time. You want me to be your buddy again? I think I get my Christmas gift yet, but that's not right. Got it. So Sandra, what's your buddy? Sheila. Joe, what's your buddy? I was saying your buddy.
My buddy has such a wonderful name that I won't reveal it.
Yeah, good one. Of course, the last one they can do today, I'm not gonna give anybody one. Lady Maxine, what's the name of your buddy?
Francina, retired Francina. All because she told me, right?
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, make sure to contact your buddy during this week, connect with them. Or you can be like me, you have to pay a $5 fine. And I forgive me, my buddy, you and I spoke just the other day at the Valentine's Day, and I promised that we would be connected with each other. So enjoy your meals, everyone.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Okay, as we go into our topic today, I have a video about 4 minutes long that I would like to show that was talking about navigating rotational change. So hopefully, you can tie down on some of your food while the video is playing.
Thank you.
To bring in career coach Laura Gassner-Otting, author of Limitless, How to Ignore Everybody, Carve Your Own Path, and Live Your Best Life. I'm so glad to have this time, and this is the right time to talk to you because the Great Resignation is still going strong. Why do you think that is?
You know, so many of us woke up after the pandemic and said, gosh, when life goes back to normal, is the normal I'm going back to really the life I want? And for a lot of us, the answer, just like Nancy, was a resounding no. And especially those of us in midlife who, when we were teenagers, were asked to pick a career path. But you know what you don't have, Robin, when you're a teenager?
What's that?
A frontal lobe, like the actual part of your brain that dictates good, sound, logical decision making. So is it any wonder so many of us are like, I wonder what happens now. What do I do now?
And what do we do now? Because there are some do's and don'ts.
Yes.
And a lot of people feel skill set. And I don't know why they get it into their head. There's the fear that they don't have the skill to do what it is that they want to do. How do you get past that?
Yeah, that's because so many position descriptions talk only about transferable skills. So don't focus on your transferable skills, these skills that we already have done. Any job I've ever wanted has been something that I've not been obviously qualified for. We don't make a change to do something you've already done. We make a change to do something different. So instead, do focus on translatable skills. These are the skills we've picked up in one arena that might translate to another, breaking down those jobs into their component parts. If, for example, you raise money for a community organization, you've done the research, you've made the ask, you've stewarded a relationship, that's perfect for, say, a career in sales.
I like that, translatable. That's my takeaway.
Yes,
that's my takeaway. Okay, salary. You know, because some folks, some, not all, want to make the career shift because they want to make more money, but there's more to that than just the compensation of making this shift.
Yes, we have been taught that bigger, better, faster, more is the only metric of success. So don't just focus on one number, do focus on two. Think about your need to make number and your want to make number. Your need to make numbers, what you need to have to cover your essentials, home, education, food, health, especially in uncertain, uncertain economic times. But instead, think about your want to make number also. That's everything in and above that. The sweet spot is what's in the middle, and that's where you decide what you're willing to sacrifice to make this career change. Maybe taking on an entry-level position like Nancy, doing an internship, taking a course, anything you need to increase your network and your skill set.
You got to think big. You got to think,
Big.
dream big, but, focus small.
Absolutely.
And make those steps.
Absolutely.
Can we talk about ageism?
Oh, yes.
Because that is something also that it prevents them from making that plunge.
Yes, ageism is real. But don't apologize for your age, and don't try to hide it by, taking off years off your resume. Instead, do think about how to prepare yourself, how to be in the moment with, the transition you're making. So do those informational interviews with people who have made the midlife career change. Do an internship, take on some gig work. Absolutely update your social media and your public-facing technology. But also go in with confidence, knowing that maybe if you want to change your career into entrepreneurship, starting a business when you're 39 years old, there are studies that show that you are 5 times more likely to be successful after 39 years old than earlier. Because this is when we know ourselves, we know our skills and our strengths and our weaknesses, and we understand who to surround ourselves with in order to bring out our best.
I love how you said, don't hide your age. It is something that we should be proud of and know that we have value, that we are, we may be learning, but we still have something that we're bringing to the table.
Yes, our age is an asset.
Okay, so bottom line, because I'm really excited to have you here, and I know that people are watching and they want to make this plunge. What is your final message to people to, if you want to make this change in life, to go for it?
My final message is that life is really short, and if we've learned anything in the last few years, it's that we should be doing things that bring us more joy, more fulfillment, things that we enjoy every single day, because when we bring our best to what we do, then everyone around us benefits. The time is now.
It is now.
Thanks. So that's just to get you warmed up for our moderator, Martin, and lead us through RCN members who have taken the plunge and gone through that vocational change.
No, go ahead. Try it. I think it.
So they're gonna, okay, so Maxine is gonna come up now, and I guess you will introduce your.
Thank you, Madam President. So yes, we're talking about vocational change today, in keeping with Rotary's theme for the month. And on our panel, we have past President Raquel, who would have been a banker, and then she switched to law, as well as Rotarian Wayne, who was in law enforcement, and he's now in insurance. And so welcome them both. That's
Okay, he's gonna come over.
okay, so we'll start out with Rotarian Wayne. We'll ask Rotarian Wayne to tell us in 90 seconds about his time in law enforcement. That's the first question. Tell us in 90 seconds about the time in law enforcement. You can come up to the podium when you're ready. So let's give him a clap of applause.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. It's a real pleasure to talk about vocational shift and change. That video was just right on point. Very fitting. Sometimes you have to make changes in life, but you have to be daunted with it. Yeah, but I'll remind you to stay on topic. But like that, and God, but very, very interesting. Very successful career, very interesting career. It is really amusement, of course, but I tend to like music. I was part of the White Brigade band. Good afternoon, Mr. Barrow. Headed by, so I, was recruited from the White Brigade band to be a member of the police band.
No, we don't have any.
After a while, the police band.
We have
did some studies and
security is.
I was still empty. Being a member of the police band, even after going to college and getting a social degree in music. I felt empty. I felt it was more I could have done. And so I made a shift within the police force to go to the wider police force, starting to study law. As a young police officer, started to study law. It was a part of the prosecution department, as well with the various stations. I was able to actually put into practice some of the things that I was learning from law school. And so I went on from there, and then I was blessed to have been given opportunities to travel to the Bahamas, and then to also work directly with the Commissioner of Police. That was one of the proudest moments. I became his personal assistant. They call him the staff officer. And so I was the personal assistant to Paul Parkinson, and he became Commissioner of Police. He sent me off to school in England, where I became the first police officer to matriculate from the Police Training College in England to the University of Leicester, where I obtained a master's degree in police management and criminal justice. So I say all of this say my trajectory was really heading towards leadership within the Royal Bahamas Police Force. I retired as a superintendent, but then something happened. And I guess that's what Mark is probably going to do later. Something happened, and it caused me to make a shift. But nonetheless, I look back on my career as a police officer, and then I grew just the gifts and talents. What I did was I set up a number, along with past President Stephen Dean, who was in charge of another area. I was in charge of another. He and I was very close friends. He set up a number of crime watch groups. And so we used to go out and speak to crime watch communities, building up crime watch associations throughout the Bahamas, and particularly Nassau. I was in charge of the Michael area, Stephen Dean was in charge of the East Retail area, and we became very, very close friends and allies, and building these crime watch groups, and it allows us to meet and interact with people. So, you know, that helped me greatly in that regard, and that is why some transitions happened. So that's my little story.
Thank you very much. Wow. So what I didn't know is that he had such a rich and exceptional career as a law enforcement officer that there was no way he could talk about it in 90 seconds. It was an impossible feat. And so we have among us, which I wasn't even aware of, a very decorated and experienced and qualified former officer. And so we're going to hear now from Lieutenant Cal about her time in banking. She's going to tell us about her banking career, and she's going to do her best of all of our accomplishment in as short a period as possible. Thank you.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. First of all, I want to apologize for being on Zoom. As some of you may know, I am a full-time student now, and I do have a class at 1, so I'm missing class to be at Rotary today. I did want to come in person, but I would have needed a police escort to get there in time. I worked at RBC for 30 years, and it was a wonderful, bittersweet. I mean, it was so many things. One of the things I always say to people is I grew up at RBC, because when I started working there, I was 21, and so during my time there, I would have met and married my husband and had my children and bought my first car and my home, and in the meantime, studying a lot along the way. And I remember when I started out, RBC called my parents' house one day. I'd submitted a resume, and I was mopping my parents' kitchen. And the HR manager at the time called and said that they had a position for 6 months. I think they said somebody was on maternity leave, and they were just looking for someone to, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, they were just looking for someone to fill in for someone who was on maternity leave. And they asked me if I would be interested, and I told them, I said, well, yeah, I'm on summer break. At the time, I was at COB doing an associate's degree in marketing. And I remember signing up for my last 2 classes to complete my associate's degree. So because I knew I needed to find work, I signed up for an 8 a.m. class, and then I had a 6 p.m. class. So when they called me, I said to them, well, I don't mind taking the job. And they said, no promises. We don't know what's going to happen after the 6 months or whatever. I said, that's fine, I'll take it. But I have an 8 a.m. class and I have a 6 a.m. class. Can I come in after my class and leave for my 6 o'clock class? And they said, not a problem. And I remember my dad dropping me to COB in the mornings and then catching the bus from COB to the Presbyterian Church there by Central Bank and running up the hill to RBC at East Hill Street. And I remember the first time I went in there, I put my bag on the desk and I said, I'm not gonna be here long, so let me not put my bag in the desk so I could get comfortable. And do you know, after 30 years, I still wasn't putting my bag in the desk, but I was there for 30 years. But it was a wonderful time there because I learned so much. I met a lot of people. I remember I used to do telexes, and for a stint, I did switchboard operation. I used to process payroll. I was very instrumental in automating government salary deductions and also the automation and amalgamation of our business center, taking all of the business clients out of the branch and whatnot. That was my project. And so it was a very rewarding career. And like I said, I met a lot of people there, persons who've become my very good personal friends. Past President Sonia being one of them, past President LePage. I met all of them at RBC. And so it was a very, very excellent time there. I got a lot of education there that RBC paid for, by the way, because RBC was one of those organizations that either gave you a stipend for education or they, paid for the entire thing. And so switching between, I started studying for law while still at RBC. And so I was working full-time and in many cases in school full-time. So I'm not a lawyer yet because I'm actually at Eugene DePuche Law School now, but I plan to graduate next year, May, and be called to the Bahamas Bar by the grace of God in November of next year.
Thank you so much. I am very inspired right now by both of you. It's a very interesting story. How 6 months turns into 30 years. So if anyone calls you for a time job, don't turn it down.
Exactly. And that's what I said to everyone. That's what I said to everyone that I ever hired. That I was hired for 6 months and it turned into all those years. So don't ever assume, oh, I'm not going to be here long. Let me just give it my bare minimum. You don't know who's watching.
Exactly, and that's very good advice because the reality is that sometimes if opportunity isn't dressed how we feel it should be, then we don't consider it fashionable and we may decline an opportunity of a lifetime. And so that's a very good example of really doing your best no matter what. Because you could have said, hey, look, I'm only here for 6 months, let me just clock in, clock out, focus on my studies. But obviously you have to perform to a level that made them want to retain you. And so thanks for moving into our next question as well, in terms of what career you're moving into and what caused you to transition. So you just told us you're moving into law and that you're studying right now. Exactly what prompted the pivot?
When I was a 16-year-old girl walking through the halls of St. Anne's, I wanted to do law. But my parents, I'm one of 14 children. Many of you don't know that. My parents could not afford to send me off to university. So I kind of had to just go with the flow. I did an associate's in marketing. Then when I started working at RBC, like I mentioned before, RBC paid for you to study. So I did a bachelor's in banking and finance. And then I started this law journey many years ago at the University of London as an external student. And then once UB started their law program. So for me, this is self-actualization. It was something I always wanted to do. And because I wanted to do it, it wouldn't leave me. Like it kept coming back to me, well, when you're going to do it, when you're going to do it. And finally, I did it. It hasn't been easy. I've cried a lot during this law journey, right? It could be very lonely because sometimes you're alone and having to study so much. It's a lot of work, but it's really self-actualization for me. And I've decided, because my sons have asked me, you want to practice law at your age? Right? Because I'm 52 now, and when I finish next year, I'll be 54. And they keep asking me, are you really gonna practice this? And I said, I have to do this, even if I take the degree and stick it in my back pocket.
Wow, so there are two things I heard from there that reminded me of quotes. One by Langston Hughes, and I think the verse of this poem says, "Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird who cannot fly." And so it's good to hear that you kept with that and that stayed with you from high school, and you're determined to accomplish it no matter what. And the second quote is Ronnie Butler, age ain't nothing but a number. So make sure that you know that. So Rotarian Wayne, I'd like you to tell us now what career you're currently in, obviously not law enforcement anymore, and exactly what prompted the change, because you were a decorated officer, you accomplished a whole lot, you got a lot of education, you even won the guys on the side of the commissioner. So what in the world caused you to leave law enforcement?
Wow, that's a $2 million question. Yeah, I had every reason to stay where I was. But one thing I know, after reading a lot, studying a lot, once you work for government, particularly for government, and you reach around a 30-year mark, your antenna should go up. So my antennas went up. Danger, 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 danger. Meaning that you fully should understand that the pension that you will receive will be less than half your salary. I think that should be a shock. Yeah, particularly if you work for government. And that's the case in most private firms as well. So I got the understanding of that. I started dating, and then I realized, hey, okay, wow, I might have a lot of experience as a law enforcement officer, having achieved certain ranks, but my pension that I'm supposed to live on is less than half of my salary. Then in there, I started to make some notable changes, and then I started to seek and search. And the Bible said, if you keep on seeking, you will find. And lo and behold, coming in my office one day was a gentleman, a good friend of mine. He and I really wants to be together. I haven't seen him in over 25 years. He came in my office, and he wanted me to deal with a complaint that he had. And I asked him, I said, boy, what you still doing these things? He said, he in the insurance business. I said, what? The insurance business? Yeah. And then he began to tell me about the insurance business. I said, what that job allowed me to go to meet people and speak to people and motivate people and inspire people. He said, man, that to do exactly that and more. And then he said, okay, I need you to come down and speak to my manager. And he took me down and he introduced me to this nice gentleman over here, Mr. Keno McCartney. And of course, all of you know McKinney.
Yeah.
Like very persuasive. Very, very, very persuasive. But anyway, I was introduced to Keno as the manager for Canadian Insurance, and Keno told me some things that fit right in with my purpose and my dreams and my hopes and the goals. And of course, like they say, the rest of his history, I was able to make up my mind what I wanted to do. Remember what I told you? Steve Bain and I started Crime Watch groups. So we used to go in the community, we used to speak place to place, we used to be on television, we used to be in the newspaper. And so we had this media personality to deal with people and so forth. So that lent itself into what I was doing. You see, your gift will make room for you.
Yeah.
You see, you got to go where your gifting is. So, back to what Terry was saying a while ago about law. I thought it was natural for me to go into law. So I went to law school. I became a paramedic, a paralegal. But boy, when I see all the books and all the papers and all the things, I got to learn all the things. I don't know. I said, no, it's not. I said, it's not something to me. Then I thought, well, security. I should be in charge of Bahama or in charge of Atlantis as a security officer, as a security specialist. So I went out and I bought hundreds of dollars worth of security books. And I read them and I made up security plans for all the security officers in the country. I made up lesson plans for them because I like to teach and I like to talk. And so I realized that after a while, I said, Lord, see, I don't feel good doing all of this. I have so much security books, so I love it, I like it, but it's natural for me to do. And of course, I prayed. Then that's when a gentleman came in my office, Anthony Lonely, and he said something to me, introduced me to Keno, and here it is.
Thank you very much. So he actually brought up, this is a very good point in terms of being able to transfer into another career, and that's about transferable skills. When we watched the video earlier, So he talked about his gifts making room for him and being in the community and being outspoken and liking to teach. And I've talked to him in insurance. So what we'd like to ask Rotary Raquel is what skill that you learned in banking most assists you now in your law studies?
Boy, it's hard for me to choose because what Rotarian Wayne said, as well as what was said in the video, that you have to have skills that are transferable. And what's interesting is there's absolutely nothing that we're exposed to, whether it's something we learn at home, something we learn at school, something we learn in Rotary. There's absolutely nothing that we're exposed to that goes to waste. My year as president, the time that I served as treasurer in Rotary, all of those skills, one of the things that I really got used to in working in a private firm like RBC is structure, right? Coming from a family of 14, there was structure, but it was helter-skelter in a lot of ways. So I think structure is one of the things that I picked up from RBC, and a lot of those skills are transferable to law, but it's the skills that we learn from everything that we do. Our gifts will make room for us. We're not trees. Like when people ask me, I mean, why are you moving from banking? Why don't you stick with banking? You've done that for so many years, but we're not trees. Everything that you can.
Sorry, Raquel.
You accidentally.
No.
Sorry, Raquel.
Yeah.
Open back up.
No, she was really confident. No.
Go ahead, Raquel. You can come up, unmute yourself, Raquel.
Okay, I'm not sure where I got cut off, but the point I was making is that every single thing we're exposed to, we gain some skill, and that could be transferred into everything. We're not trees, right? So one day you could decide, like Rotarian Wayne said, he went from being a police officer to trying out law, to trying out security, to now land and insurance. Every single thing we're exposed to, we can use. So structure was one of those things I took from RBC. I was telling a friend of mine just this morning that at RBC, you responded to an email same day. When I was at the tail end of my LLB with UB, I had to do a project and I had to reach out to a lawyer. And I sent her an email and she took a day to answer me. So I sent her a WhatsApp. And when I sent her the WhatsApp, I got her attention because she wrote me an email saying that's not appropriate. And when I got to interview her, she set me straight that when you send someone an email, you give them 3 days to respond before you follow up. But that wasn't what I learned in banking. In banking, you responded same day, whether it was a client, or whether it was an external client or an internal client, whether it was one of your peers, you responded same day. And I thought that was kind of like a culture shock to me, because I was like, where I come from, you answer the same day. Even if your answer is, I received your email and I will look at it tomorrow. You respond same day. And so you have to understand the cultures as well as you transition. But I take no learning for granted, because like I said, the year I spent at the podium as the president of this club. And this was back in the day when the president conducted the entire meeting, right? I remember my first day at the podium. I stood up to that podium and I was trying to remember past President Malcolm's name. And I drew a blank. And I was like, I sat next to Malcolm every day for like 5 years and I couldn't remember his name. But what that taught me that day is write it down. Everything I want to say, everyone whose name I want to call, write it down. And I still do that. Even though I may know it, I still write it down. So everything we ever do is a transferable skill.
Wow. Wow. So I'll tell you, and some of it you maybe don't transfer it to the next career, right? Like the email expectations, just teasing you. But absolutely, like she said, I mean, every single thing we encounter in life, everyone we meet, nothing happens by chance. It's always for a purpose. And at some point, God will reveal that purpose. And so embrace every opportunity. I have to say, and listening to Rotarian Raquel and Rotarian Wayne today, I hear a podcast and a book. I won't say which one and who, but definitely the world needs to hear more of your stories because you have so much to offer. Rotarian Raquel in particular knows how to put life experiences into like little nuggets, just enough for people to consume, because people are busy, professionals are busy. But listening to you here talk today, there's so many little skills about like just, everything you learn and just all of those short books. Rotarian Wayne, I think we're gonna give him a podcast so that he can get into more detail about his experiences, because he shares interesting stories and it's very engaging. So until the book in the podcast, I'm gonna give each of you 30 seconds to share closing remarks and keep the rest for the book in the podcast. You'll go with Rotarian Wayne first.
Thanks very much for getting back. See, you see about another career as well. Okay, Monterey.
Senator, man.
Senator. Yeah, good. But I guess we should say to everybody, life is short. Why stick in a job that ain't paying you much and the job you don't like? You know what I mean? Look deeper inside yourself. There is something you can do. I'm a broker of gifts and talents. And I believe that if you use your gift and use your talent, man, you can go to the world. Ain't no one better than you. Use your gift and your talents. Far too many people get in a rut. They just get stuck in a job they don't like, the people they don't like, and they figure they can't change. Like we said, okay, but trees, you make a change. Life is explorable. So now, being in my 60s, I just enjoy it. I'm more excited than ever. And you believe I can't believe I spent 30 odd years in the police force, to be honest with you. And now to come into the insurance industry now over 10 years. But I'm excited every day I get up. And I thank God I made a change. If I had not made a change, I would have looked old and beat right on. Don't I look good for my age? That's what change can do for you. Thank you.
I'm not sure what you just said because I think my internet is a little unstable right now.
No problem. I asked you to wrap up in 30 seconds.
Okay. I think for me to wrap up, I think the last point that I'd like to make and wrap up is to say that sometimes we feel like we need to have every single skill in our arsenal, but there are skills that we could still learn, right? I think if we see a job opening, we feel like we have to check off absolutely every single item on that list. And we may not have every single item, but our gifts will make room for us, right? Like I didn't know I could talk because I used to be one of those wallflies who would walk in a room and not have a word to say. But when you sit next to people like past President Dottie and past President Sheila and past President Joan and past President Sam, and you sit next to them and you learn from them and you work with people like Laverne Major at RBC and whatnot, you learn a lot, you become exposed to a lot, and you understand that there's so much more that you could do, and our gifts absolutely makes room for us. And sometimes we have gifts, we don't know what they are until we start doing what feels natural. Like I think I want to do counseling, even though I'm studying law. And my kids are going to ask me if I've lost my mind if I study something else. But it's something that I do naturally, right? And I've created friendships of people just walking up to me and telling me their business. And by the time we're done, we've created lifelong friendships. So I end with one of the things I said earlier. We're not trees. Every single thing that we've been exposed to, if you're from a broken marriage, if you had a broken marriage, if you had a failed job, if you are doing something that you don't like, that doesn't bring you any joy, every single thing that we have ever been exposed to is setting us up for our next gig.
Wow.
That's good. Very good.
Motivational speaker in person. And it's amazing how only on opportunities like this, we really get to dig a little deeper and get to know our fellow Rotarians better. And so thank you both for doing a wonderful job and for letting us know that even after 30 years, but 30 years in banking, that you still have more life to go. And there's more left, and there are so many nuggets that are like come away from here today. I think that everybody will take what's right for them, and we will understand everything about faith, about purpose, about our gifts, and just about being sure that whatever it is we're doing, that we're living out what we feel is God's call and purpose on our lives, because that's what I heard coming out of today. So thank you very much. All the best to you as you conclude your law studies, and all the best to you as you and continue to make sure that persons in our country are financially secure. So we'll turn the meeting back over to our Sergeant of Arms, our president.
No problem, no problem. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Thank you so much to our panelists. I did enjoy it. I was tempted to join the panel, but you know, when I saw the amount of years of experience you guys had, I stepped back. I'm actually a chemical engineer by trade. But I ended up going into safety. I think I only did engineering about 5 years, maybe, if that long. For me, it was just trying to find a job because I needed experience to get a job as an engineer, but I didn't have the job to have that experience. That makes sense? Yeah. At that point, I was like, okay, I need to find something else to do. And into safety, because that was around 2001 when the Bahamas was just set up into the Health and Safety at Work Act. I was like, hey, put up my hand for that. So that's how I ended up into it. But yes, but thank you so much. Love hearing that info. I did actually have some person chatting me on the side that they would like to have a part 2 of this because some of them are actually on the fence right now. And they would like to, you know, to be able to have a further dialogue, you know, just to talk about some, you know, decisions that they would like to make going forward. So thanks again for this. This actually was the brainchild of Rotary and Royanne. Unfortunately, she, you know, is pulled in so many different directions right now that she wasn't able to come out. But when she pitched the idea, you know, we talked about it in admin, and it was just, you know, a great idea that we wanted to pull off because we do have quite a few members who actually made that change. So I think Sam Woodle as well, one of those was in banking and ended up going into priesthood, which I'm sure was a transition as well. So, you know, it's good. Hopefully we'll be able to have a part 2. If you do want to have some discussion, I think Raquel is still on, waiting here if you want to have after we close out. But right now, I don't think we did the raffle, but I know we got some fines. Time to do, right? Yes, okay, so what the time you want to call on those of you who are Nate know who you are, right? I don't know your name, right?
I contacted my buddy, Lana. She's at a meeting. And she'd be the next exam straight.
No, don't worry about the raffle. Yeah, because I mean, to try to do that now. But you can like to find them. You can like to find. Yeah, so we got Darren, we have Rika, we have Sam.
All those who are.
Yeah, we have Owen over here.
Who you gotta find?
Larry. Who else?
Again?
Anybody?
All those who are also on Zoom.
Yes, those who are on Zoom. You know, make sure type it in the chat so we can have our record to say we can come and collect our fine from you as well, okay? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, President. We can collect those fines and make sure those fines are in. By the way, those of you who don't have your rotary pin on, that's another fine. Owen, is that you? You getting double fine?
Oh, my.
Owen, you getting double fine. So get those fines in. Those of you who don't have the pin on. And by the way, those of you online who do not have the pin on, put in the chat. We're going to say the 4-way test. I want you to be honest when you say the 4-way test. It's true to happen, Jim.
Yes, sir.
So make sure put your name in the chat that you will be bringing your files. Okay, let's all stand, please. Let's say the 4-way test. 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. If it's the truth,
Is it fair
Is
to
it
all
fair to all
concerned?
concerned?
Will it build
goodwill and better friendships?
better friendships?
Would be
Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And will it be fun?
Thank you, sir.
Rotarians, all Rotarians, please raise your glasses with me. As we toast, as we make a toast for Rotary. Rotary who are here, Rotarians who are there, and Rotary all around the world.
Rotary around the world.
Around the world.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know, did anyone have a burning question for our panelists? You can have a seat now. We are done with our official meeting. If you have any questions or any comments you wanted to make?
Question,
Oh, yes, go ahead.
comment.
First of all, Pam, if you had to do it all again, you had to live your life, you had a choice, which career would you choose and why?
Who's gonna go first? Say the question.
Say the question again.
Okay, so he's saying, if you had to do it all over again, live your life all over again, which career would you choose and why? That's a very difficult question. Because you know, like sometimes leaders along the way to the right path. It isn't clear and cut. Sometimes, you know, when I look back at my life, would I not wish to go to the law enforcement route? I would say no. Because having done that, it exposed me to so many other things. And like I said earlier too, everything in life is preparing you for something else, for something greater. See, you get to walk into greatness. You become that. And becoming that is a process. You see? So it's no choosing the perfect career or the perfect path. Because who knows what God has in store. You see, so that's how I say.
Raquel, you want to respond?
I don't know that I could even add anything to that because I think that was well said. Because everything prepares us for something else. I think the path that I went on was the exact path that I was meant to go on. And to take the long way around, so to speak, right? I think of the children of Israel in this scenario. It took them 40 years to complete a 40-day journey. But the children that actually arrived to the promised land weren't the same children that left for the promised land. And I'm not the same person either. And so I believe that I think sometimes you have to take the long way around.
Thanks, George. I just wanted to make a comment, and particularly to Raquel, to congratulate you that during all of this, that you brought up 3 children and educated them in the midst of all those 30 years. I think you did a great job.
Thank you, Past President Joan. I certainly appreciate Past President Joan, and I just want to say thank you.
Very good.
Okay, good. I think it looks like that may be it, because no one online is asking any questions, right? Nope.
No.
All right, well, thank you. With that, we will end our meeting, and don't forget, those of you who are here in person, you want to get our photo, you know, we'd like to get our photo. So those of you online are missing this part of the meeting, but please, next week we should be getting more of you in our photo. But thank you again. Thank you so much, Raquel, for sharing that information. Thank you, Wade, and we look forward to our part 2. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye, everyone. Have a good day.
Okay.
Have a good afternoon.